guys, hope you're well. Welcome to DOdaily, Thursday Thoughts, the live questions and answer session. Des here, of course. Hope you're all well. Hope you're looking forward to it. As I always start with on a Thursday, thank you for the input. Without you, it wouldn't be able to happen. Before we get started, I'd just like to say, if you enjoyed today's episode, please give it a thumbs up. Please share if you can, and of course subscribe. And if you do subscribe, why not drop it in the comments that you've subscribed? I'd love to reply to you and say thank you personally. So it'd be a great way to let me know that you've hooked up. Of course, you'll get all the notifications of the latest episodes. I'm looking to do quite a lot with DOdaily over the next few weeks, leading into the new year, trying to tie it in with some personal stuff I'm doing in terms of the coaching that I've spoke about many times on a Thursday. Just got back from that, another great session. Frustratingly, I wasn't involved as such, of course, leading it and encouraging the guys and shouting at them and getting them running up hills in the freezing cold temperatures. But as I mentioned over the last couple of days, not feeling fantastic, feeling a bit rough. Was not quite sure why, apart from the fact my hand is still hurting with the pain. That's causing me a lot of sort of uncomfort and more frustration. But cold has kind of made its way out now, really sort of feeling it, got snotty nose, sneezing a lot. So just a seasonal thing, I hope. I think so anyway. I'll make sure everything's okay and stay wrapped up for the next couple of days. But things to do nonetheless, things to crack on with, and all these things I enjoy, which I talk about, sort of pushing on through whatever's happening, just to sort of make sure that we do the things we have to do. Things that keep me accountable, that keep me sort of wanting to be positive and happy. And that's all it's about, isn't it? That's all I'm trying to do through DOdaily, is put across that whatever's thrown at us, we can find ways of dealing with it. All this is my honest and relatable take on everyday life. Just a vlog, just somebody normal trying to do normal things, encouraging other people to do normal things. And that's what it's about. We can all watch in and look at people who are really inspirational, and sometimes that feels a little bit out of reach, doesn't it? I say a lot with the guys here when they talk about inspiration. I'm like, just be careful sometimes not to be in awe of somebody, because that almost makes it unachievable. It almost like the person saying it doesn't believe that they can be the person they're saying it about, if you get what I'm saying there. So it's just a case of trying to be normal, trying to do normal things, trying to show that when the chips are down, we can all pick ourselves up in some way, shape or form and really crack on with the things we do. And that kind of leads me into the targets I've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, isn't it? This has been a major frustration for me on a Thursday, but I'm not going to get too downbeat. I set myself, I got the viewers to set me targets, various different things to work on for the rest of the year. I always like to look at the last quarter and think, if I can end it strong, I'll be in a good position to start the next year. Whilst we're not sort of defined by the calendar and we shouldn't wait or we shouldn't do too much, again, we can just use time as a little bit of inspiration to give us that kickstart we need sometimes. So I asked the guys to post in these targets. This is what they came up with. I'll run through them very quickly, because sort of check in with these each week just to show you how I'm doing, but almost let you know why it is and isn't working. The first one, which I found really tough, no takeaway coffees until the end of the year. Still had no takeaway coffees. I had a couple of takeaway teas, but that's not the challenge. I'm really kicking in with my diet this week. This has perhaps got that little bit easier as well. I've been using different drinks and things. Lots of juice, lots of water. So again, this one I'm getting through it regardless. It's becoming a little bit easier. I would love a Costa though, especially in the morning, especially with this snotty nose. It would just pick me up a bit. But it's a challenge, and I'm working my way through it. Whatever's happened at the moment is not stopping me doing that one. Run sub 5K. This is the one I'm finding most difficult. Last Thursday, I was really positive about being able to get out running again. My hand was feeling a little bit better. My arm, my hand, whatever it is, still not quite sure. I was feeling a lot better, and I managed to get a couple of steady runs and not put too much pressure on it because the vibrations are hurting. But so I was really thinking, have I still got time to crack this one? I ran a park run last weekend in about 30 minutes. What I was aiming for as a first run back after God knows how long out. And that felt okay. It felt comfortable. It felt like I could have stepped on it a little bit more. But this week, my arm has been really hurting. No further runs, put no pressure on it. I'm trying to sort of make sure that gets better before anything. So not quite sure how that one's going to go, but I'll keep chipping away. When I can get back to it, I'll keep sort of working my mind into when I can run again and giving it a go. I get 200 subscribers on my channel. Well, I mentioned there, if you want to subscribe, you can help me with this. Like I say, please comment if you do. Let me know so I can personally say thank you. Even if you have in the past, drop a comment. That'll be fantastic, and I'll make sure I get back to you. In terms of the numbers, I actually said last week I lost a few for some reason. Somebody took offence possibly to something I said. But I've actually regained those, got 2 or 3. So I've actually got one more than I did 2 weeks ago. 172, only 28 to go. Ooh, the dizzy heights of the YouTube world, the murky world of YouTube. But whilst it's not all about that, I always say if I can help one person, and I mention how much this helps myself. This is about building. That's the whole nature of YouTube. It's trying to build something that's worthwhile and people look into. It shows progress on my part. It shows that the content's getting a little bit better than it was from the start. Hopefully that's the case anyway. And like I say, in the coming weeks, there's lots of other things I'm going to do with it and try and shape it a bit more to what I do in terms of the activity and some of the coaching stuff I do. So do keep an eye out if you are subscribed. But if you can, help me get to that 200 number. That's the next milestone. As YouTubers tend to work to these milestones, everywhere you look, somebody's reaching out for 100, 1,000, 5,000, but, we'll just keep doing what we do. And this one, do 5 part ones you haven't done before. I'm getting well stuck into that. I've done 3. It wasn't a new one last week. It was, I actually attended part 1 for a friend's 250th. So that was a nice occasion. It was nice to sort of get back to our local part 1 here at Collick in Nottingham. It's my favourite place anyway. It's one of my favourite places, regardless of the part 1. The part 1 makes it even better. So really enjoyed that. Sort of a week off from trying to hit this target. This week, tomorrow, I'm actually going to a football match. Forest are away in the West Midlands at West Bromwich. And me and Kirst stopping over for one night, purely so we can get up and do a park run. Again, I'm not sure I'm going to be running it, but I'll be doing it. Park run's all about running, walking, spectating, volunteering. You can do it in several different ways. So I'll be going to, I think it's called Sandwell Park Run. It's right near the Hawthorns where West Brom playing. The hotel is literally on the edge of the park as well. So looking forward to getting number 4 ticked off. I'm sure this one's going to be cracked in the next couple of weeks. But a great challenge this one's been. Just gets you thinking, gets you planning. And I always talk about the importance of preparation and planning what you do and adding that accountability. So for me, it's given us purpose to our weekend when ordinarily Saturday might have been a little bit quiet. And the next one, lose an average of £2 per week between now and Christmas. Well, this one, despite everything else that hasn't worked, apart from that part 1 target, this one I've actually really got stuck into this week. Probably a little bit guilty in reality of knowing I could achieve this when I really set my mind to it. So I'd not give it all I needed to do. But without the activity, I had to do something different this week. So really got stuck in. I'm actually doing a diet based on I'm a celebrity. I'm eating a lot of rice and peas and chicken. That's literally it. And sort of throughout this 3-week period, whilst that's on, I'm going to try and stick to that as much as I can. No red meats, no fatty food, no chocolate, no crisps. They're all considered luxuries in the jungle, aren't they? So I'm just trying to stick to those kind of real basics. I'm quite good at that when I'm in a diet. I'm quite good at eating the same things. I know Kay and 1 or 2 others who I've spoke to about this, I wouldn't be able to do that. But already 4 days in, really got my mind sort of set on what I'm doing. getting my routine sorted. And again, this is going to help me when I do get back to the activity. I think this week I've lost 4 pounds, so I think I was about 5 pounds short of this target last week. So I'm only a pound short, but I'm really getting stuck into this diet now, like I say. So that should help when I get the activity in. Unfortunately, not been for as many walks this week as well. That's something I've really sort of emphasised is important for the duration of DOdaily. Picking it up in lockdown when I had lots of time and lots of sort of energy, but was still injured at that point as well. It was something for me to give me that base level of fitness. This week, through feeling under the weather, through feeling a bit flat with my arm, I've not got out so much. So something I'm definitely looking to pick up, even if I can't run. It's important for me to get out there and do whatever whatever walking I can before I can get out and run. I'm sure when I'm doing that and the diet, those pounds will drop off, and that's what I'm really aiming for to start the year particularly well. Moving on from those, that was me checking in. Of course, if you've got anything to sort of say, please drop it in the comments. Any questions for next week, please email me, get in touch through any of the social media running across the bottom of the screen now. It's great to sort of get all your feedback and make this as interactive as possible. I'll start by getting into the throwback question, but again, if you've got anything to add to this, I always ask one at the end of each episode to get you sort of feeding back in so we can try and inspire people, so we can show them different alternatives in many different ways. If you've got anything to add to this, please drop it in the comments. Last week's throwback question, what's your favourite? That's not actually the throwback question, so I'm going to kill Kay. The throwback question was, what is your favourite TV programme? Just a little mishap there. We tried to get really prepared today, and that box has not been changed. So what's your favourite TV programme? I think Kay's more concerned with what's her favourite TV programme. The reason I asked this basically was because I said I'm a Celebrity. I'm not a massive watcher of TV other than factual programmes and sport. So just trying to show that it's okay to indulge in a bit of crappy telly. So Kay says hers got to be Below Deck. It's completely trashy, but she loves it. I think that's something to do with, I don't know what it's to do with actually. That just shows how much attention I pay to that. Dawn, she says she has 2, Only Fools and Horses and Birds of a Feather. I know when she's had a long day, she retreats to the bedroom to put on Only Fools and Horses and Birds of a Feather. Like watching, isn't it? Funny, don't find Birds of a Feather particularly funny myself, but I can understand why some might. And Simon's dropped one in there saying he barely watches TV too, but RuPaul's Drag Race is a must in this house. When Kay was writing that, she reliably informed me that it's the final today, so hope you enjoy the final, whatever that means. I don't really know. I know it's something Kay watches, and it's a bit of a must in this house, but she watches it when I'm not about. So again, just little ideas on where people, making it sort of acceptable to watch these things. We all watch something that someone else doesn't like, but we all get a bit uptight sometimes. No, I don't watch that. It doesn't matter if we do or don't. It's wherever you find enjoyment and pleasure, and that's what all that's about. So thanks for the input there, guys. Ben is commenting as well. The repair shop, he loves it. Not quite sure what that is. I'd imagine it's one of these things where people take things to get mended, as it says in the title, and they like to tell you the value of things and, I don't know, put a time on it or something like that. But thanks for getting involved, Ben. Really appreciate that joining in there. And like I say, all those, it's just a light-hearted way to let us know what you're up to, what you're doing, getting people sort of involved in what I'm doing here. So moving into the questions, got a really sort of decent set to go at today. Really, like I say, really appreciate them. A bit of a variation. I like to start with a running one if I can. Of course, that's my passion. That's what I do throughout the week. I encourage people to be active. And I think it's really important to maintain that, even though I'm trying to make this transferable into whatever you're doing, whatever people find enjoyment from. I do encourage people to watch outside of running, but activity is the first thing any of us can do to put the body in. If we're physically or mentally out of shape, if we put a body right, it's all going to work from there. That's what I truly believe. I was listening to something today from Tony Robbins. He's a real he's a motivational speaker who's got millions and millions of followers and really does some really good stuff. And he was saying the same. It's really important that you get the body right before you focus on the mind and the physical side of things, and if you can get out there for walks, runs, whatever, it's so important. So like I say, that's the reason I tend to start with running, and it's got a bit of focus in what we do. The first question is from Kay. What do you think about when you're running? Which is a really interesting question, isn't it? I'm sure there's lots of variation to this. So if you've got any comments about what you think about, please drop them on. Again, I'll read them out if I can. If you're watching after we've finished, drop them in the comments, and I'd love to reply. To be honest, the thing I think about most when I'm running, as much as I love it, as much as I enjoy it, is getting to the end. It's sort of, I play little mind games with myself, try and sort of look at things, and I've got to get to that point before I take a sip of water, or I've got to, if I'm on a hill, I'll be looking at a car, a lamppost, a sign, just trying to get myself up. I tend not to think about too much, and that's one of the great benefits of it for me. I am a bit of a deep thinker. I like to sort of get myself stuck into things. I like to sort of listen to things that are thought-provoking, read and things like that. But when I'm out there, I can completely lose myself. If I'm in a bad mood when I go, I can forget about whatever's on my mind. I remember a time in the past when I was in a difficult place, and I'd just go out there and completely forget about everything. It gave me an hour not to think about anything than what was in front of me and actually running. Of course, at times things go through your mind, whether if you have had a bad day, it gives you a chance to process, doesn't it? So it might have been what I've got, what I've done, or I might be planning in my head what I'm doing next. But it never seems to be too far out of actually being out there running. Like I say, getting to the end is normally the thing. Playing games with myself to tick off the miles, to get it done, and then that's when the real enjoyment comes into it for me. The endorphins start flowing. You look at all the stats and all those things that us runners sort of obsess about, and that's where you find the real enjoyment, I find. But in terms of when I'm out there, not a great deal. I purposely try these days to take in as much as I can. When I'm walking in particular, it's all about looking at things, getting pictures, seeing things from different angles, even if it's somewhere familiar. When I'm running, I try and do that as much as I can, because I know when you're not focusing on the running, like I've just said I tend to do, sometimes it can just drift away in front of you, and before you know it, it's done, and you feel strong and it feels enjoyable. Like I say, other than sort of what's happening just before or just after, which I might be using it to process either end, to come to terms with things or to plan things, not a great deal. But I'd be really interested in, it'd be really interesting to find out what you think about, when you're out running. If you can drop any comments, please put them on and I'll happily read them out. Something I'm going to look into as well. But a great question. Thanks for that, Kay. Question 2 is from Dawn. What do you think of this year's I'm a Celebrity campaigns? Of course, I mentioned this, and I did say when I was urging people to ask me questions, even if it's about something as trashy as this, I'll be happy to answer it. Absolutely anything every week. I'll answer any questions you've got, whether it's light-hearted like this, or serious in terms of activity, or serious, even more serious in terms of the way I'm feeling. But what do you think of this year's campmates? To be honest, the reason I enjoy it is because I don't make my mind up straight away. It's easy, isn't it? But when you've watched it for 3 weeks, you've had a chance to get to know everybody, through the television. Of course, not the way they do there, but it's great seeing the relationships form. Already there's one or two who you think they might be quite nice, quite like Frankie, not because she's quite attractive, but she seems quite nice and sweet, and she's going to look after everybody. David seems quite funny. David Ginola, of course, I know him from following football. So you kind of familiarise with the people, Some of them you don't know quite so well, do you? So I still think it's quite early. But what do you think? What do you think, Dawn? What do you think, everybody else? I know people around me, lots of people watch this. It is one of those programs where people like to get involved and like to have their opinions. So for me, I think that they're starting to settle down, aren't they, after that tricky start where Naughty Boy was getting a bit upset because he felt a little bit picked on. There's probably no hiding place in there either, is there? There's a couple of more still to go in, a couple of well-known soap stars. Even I know them, and I've not watched soaps for 20 years, but I'm sure they're going to throw a few issues, throw something into the mix as well. So I'll probably be in a better place to answer that in a week or two. But no, really enjoying it so far, getting to know it, and again, we know how tough and tricky it looks, so it's a great watch. A couple of comments popping up, I think, on the back of this. Kay says she really likes this year's cohort, excited for the newcomers later. It's actually Ian Beale and Steve McDonald, two big characters, so I'm sure they're going to make a difference. And Dawn says, absolutely love David Ginola, but looking forward to seeing Simon Gregson. I think the funniest thing about Simon Gregson, and even though I don't watch the soaps, and people probably going to be saying, I thought you didn't watch the soaps. Apparently, he said it himself, he's just like his character in Coronation Street. And the limited Coronation Street I've watched, I know he's a little bit bonkers, isn't he? So that's going to be fun to see, isn't it? But thanks for the question. I did say you can ask anything. And that leads nicely onto Christmas. Again, not a subject I like to approach too soon, but a great question from Rachel. What are your top tips for continuing to run through the Christmas season? Well, personally, I love running in December. Most years I try and run every day in December, and I was planning on doing that to get back into shape this year. Not quite sure. I'm not quite sure it's going to happen. But what have I got? 5 days if the pain subsides in my hand, and I feel like I can get out there. I'm going to try and run every day in December. And the reason I like doing that is because I know it can be a tough month to do it. There's lots of plans, lots of parties, lots of overindulgence. It's a way of trying to keep the weight down a little bit as well when I'm not in full-on diet. So I like to run every day just to make sure with all the extra things I do, I'm still getting in my activity and not going long periods without it. Having to think about it is one of the things, isn't it? When you're not thinking about it, it's quite easy to let it go. But if you've got a party, for example, in an evening, you might have to get up and get out in the morning. Once you've done it, always talk about the benefits. I don't need to go into those now, but you've done your activity, you've done your day at work, and then you feel like you've earned that party, and that's an amazing feeling, isn't it? So it's just a way for me of keeping the weight down, enjoying the things that little bit more. Christmas is a time to do lots of things in my mind. It's a time to do absolutely everything you can. I hear people going, oh, well, I've got this planned and I've got this planned. Well, so what? It's the best time of the year. It's time to celebrate, come together. January is the time for it to all to work on everything really hard, but to cut the plans back for me. So for me, it's just about sort of looking at it that way, realising that it might just help me when I'm having an extra mince pie or pig in blanket, try and do it every day. I'm not saying everybody's got to go out and do that, but plan them in as much as anything. I'd said about this coaching I've been talking about on DOdaily, and I'm looking to sort of develop on my own. I'd said a couple of months ago we was going to have a break at Christmas, but in reality, I sat back and thought about that a few weeks ago, and I thought, well, we're actually going to lose momentum. Why would we have a break in December, and then come back in January and have to start completely from scratch? Just want to keep that momentum going. I can understand people might not always be there, might not always do it, but if I'm giving them an opportunity to meet up as a group and take part in a session, and they can work it around their plans, it's just a great way to keep going. And like I say, whether it's that or running groups, I run for free here in Nottingham, which I've got 3 of those a week. If people sort of put them in the diary and planning when they can do it, that's a good way to keep you ticking along through the season. Arrange to meet people, people you've not seen all year, a Christmas coffee, maybe, even though I won't be doing that because I'm not allowed, but a Christmas coffee, somebody you want to meet up or lunch, and run to it, run with them, and then stop for a coffee or a bite to eat, There's lots of little ways of getting through these tough months, but in reality, for me, whilst I say it's a fantastic time of the year, in terms of running, it's exactly the same, because it's still Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Christmas only lasts for a few days in reality. So I like to do whatever I can. And for me, these occasions become a little bit more special if I can get out for a run. A lot of non-runners will always look at you and go, what, you run on your birthday? You run on Christmas Day? Absolutely. They're the best time to get out for a run. These days you get park runs set up, where people give their time to come out in the morning and hundreds of people turn up. It's an amazing time to get out there. You see different things on your routes, as opposed to the dark nights in November and January. You see all the Christmas decorations, and occasionally people in good spirits, So it's a fantastic time to get out. Really, really enjoyable. Kay's put in a comment here, look, planning is definitely the key during a busy December. And that's all it's about, isn't it? It's about planning, making yourself accountable. If you're struggling with making yourself accountable for yourself, arrange to meet people, put them in the diary. When we say we're going to do something, we're more likely to do it. There's plenty of groups. I actually stopped the running group over the Christmas period for a couple of weeks just to give myself a rest, because I work at it all year and there's lots of social media and there's lots of admin to do around it. But I still keep going. I set my own personal challenges. I arrange to meet people, even though it's not an official running group, just to get myself through it. And like I say, really enjoy it. And if it, even if that extra mince pie is the motivation, I know I shouldn't be saying that when I'm talking about diets, but whatever it takes to get out there, Of course, be careful. It's dark sometimes. It could be cold and slippy. Wrap up warm. Do what you need to do. But it's a great time to get out there. Hopefully that helps just a little bit. But another great question. I really appreciate that. And the last question today comes from John. As it's December in a week, when is your Christmas tree going up? Well, I know lots of people around me, and lots of people I've mentioned on this episode have got their Christmas tree up and have been trying to ask me questions about Christmas for a long time. The reason I'm answering them today is because I always consider Christmas after my last running event of the year, official running event, despite what I've just said before. And my last event normally every year is the Clown Half Marathon. Something I've done quite a lot. Of course, I didn't do it when COVID was on, but it's always the last Sunday in November. So in terms of the actual official stuff and training for it, it's the last one. And I always think straight after that, right, now it's Christmas. So I'd imagine with Clown being this weekend, again, I'd love to get out there and do it. There's a distinct possibility I can't. But who knows, I'm thinking about potentially jogging it if I can. And as soon as that's finished, I'm quite happy to switch into Christmas mode. So I'd imagine next week, the Christmas tree will be up. Who knows, I might even do Thursday thoughts with a Christmas tree backdrop. But until now, I think whilst I love it and I enjoy it, I think it's important to keep it kind of exclusive to December and make the absolute most of it. Do all the things I do, Christmas Day park run, Christmas parties, Christmas runs, Christmas beers, whatever. All those things can be crammed in December, Don't beat yourself up about having a busy period. it's a great time. You know, I always talk about like going full steam ahead. And as I said before, January can be quite quiet, can't it? You know, so it's one of those times where you can just not put your feet up, because I'm encouraging people to get out there, but just not make too many plans in terms of big plans. You know what I mean? You know, we don't go out and celebrate January the 25th, so there's not a load of January parties. But in terms of the activity, we can really get at it and focus again. And that's why I think Christmas exclusive to December is really, really important. But that's just my thoughts. So thanks for all those questions, and thanks for some comments today. I'm trying to sort of interact with it all and get those involved. If you're watching sort of after it's been live, please comment. Like I say, please do subscribe, please like, please keep your questions coming. Please email des@dorunning.org.uk. I'll put your questions out from there. You know, some great ones there. Like I said, they don't have to be serious. You know, I love a serious question. I love getting my teeth into something like that. But also the light-hearted stuff, you know, absolutely anything. It's just some way to check in. And like I say, realise that we don't have to take ourselves too seriously, do we? Even when things are pretty tough. You know, there's ways of being positive and enthusiastic and looking forward to what we do. Of course, I'll end with another throwback question. What do you think about when you're being active? Of course, that first question, I thought this would be a great one to throw back. So if you've got any responses to that, you know, please give it a bit of thought, not too long. I encourage people to send stuff into me, and then I was like, I don't know what to say. I think they think I'm trying to be a bit too technical, a bit too scientific with this. Just whatever you're thinking. You know, when I ask about TV program, you know, everybody's got a favourite TV program. I should have had millions of answers to reel off, but you know, I appreciate the guys who got back. But it's that simple, and that's all I'm trying to do, just to sort of let others know this could be a really good one. People might think, why am I thinking that? Why am I getting carried away with this? Or why should I be thinking about this? Should I be thinking that? For example, I know people who constantly think about their breathing. You know, there's no need, because what I say to the guys, it's the biggest question I get, sort of being a runner and trying to do the things I do. And I always say, don't worry too much, because you will breathe naturally, because we've learned over the last however many years we've been alive to breathe naturally. If you're not dead at the end, your breathing's been just fine. And I know that sounds a bit blasé, but the reality is we can overthink things, can't we? We can overthink, we worry about things. You know, I always reel off that stat that 85% of things we think about, worry about is unnecessary. You know, so I try not to be that person. I try and be as calm and collected as I can. You know, and hopefully I can just pass a little bit of that on. And if somebody can take something from it, that's absolutely fantastic. But like I say, you know, this is all I'm trying to be: honest and relatable, light-hearted, serious, whatever it takes, because that's what life is, isn't it? We deal with ups and downs every single day. But I'd just like to have a good day, you know. And it's been another one of those. Really enjoyed this episode. Like I say, pop your questions in to des@dorunning.org.uk. I'll pick those up, or any of that social media. Tomorrow, I'm planning on getting back to the Robin Hood way. Really, really looking forward to this. I've got a bit of time, so I'm hoping to really crack on with a few miles. I think there's about 20 miles to go on that, and I've really missed it in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Just been cautious with my arm and my hand, you know, just because I'm going into an area I don't really know, right up in North Notts. But I'm sure when I get out there and the day breaks, it's going to be amazing. It's going to pick me up. It's going to make me feel a bit better. And despite this little bit of cold, you know, this pain in my arm, you know, and the frustrations I've got, you know, I'll be attacking the day. I've missed out on some really nice autumn sunrises just by sort of staying local or getting up that bit later through a lack of sleep. But really looking forward to it. The importance of waking up to walk when I've got this planned in has really sort of hit me again. So I'll be talking about that. I'll be reflecting on the things I've said this week, you know, trying to be positive about it despite the frustration, you know, be positive about the weekend, looking forward to that football match if nothing else, you know. Bit of worry around the park run and the Clown Half Marathon, but I'll deal with it as it comes, you know. Might take big decisions here and there, But I'll deal with that. But really looking forward to the football. So I'll be on it tomorrow. Travelling somewhere I've not been for a while. That new park run as well. So lots to sort of mention there. But like I said, the most important thing is just getting up, attacking the day, getting that activity in. For all my own goodwill, all my own sort of encouragement, I've been a little bit guilty this week of. There's been reasons for it. I'm being harsh on myself. There's been reasons for it, but I need to get out and get that walk in. And when I do it early, absolutely brilliant. So thanks for all your input once again, guys. Have a great evening. Join me for Wake Up to Walk. It's going to be amazing up in Clumber Park, and deep in Robin Hood country. And we'll sign off for tonight before we sign off for the week tomorrow. Join me then, 7 a.m. Just doing it.